Okay, welcome back. The third step here. I know this seems like a lot, but my hope is that uh, after one or two times practicing this, you feel like you can do this every week or even twice a week if this is going to be your main uh, kind of challenge to the kids as we try to figure out this distance learning for us ensemble type teachers. So, anyways, I'm back in my classroom. Remember, this is kind of what you guys built on your own. Here are the directions from the first step. Here's the link that you shared off of the music theory .NET curriculum worksheet that was provided. And again, just to share these, what I suggest is that you click on the one you want and then you share that address. Kind of a funky code, but that's how I would suggest you share them off of this form. Anyways, back to step 3 here. So now, as a student, what the students are going to do is they're going to click on the exercise that you shared. So they click on the exercise. It takes them straight here. They're going to start this challenge. This is just a 5-question challenge. I made it really simple and basic so that you could just get the gist of it and see me complete my note reading. And I don't provide flats or sharps because it's not really necessary for that event. But the main thing is that the kiddo scores this right here. We want them to remember that they got a 5. We want their raw score. We don't care about percentages. And that's because the percentages might be a little bit skewed. If these quizzes are set up to be done in 60 seconds with 60 questions, it's not likely if you're a middle school teacher that a lot of your kiddos are going to feel like 100% successful. So we use the raw scores, and then we can kind of curve things a little bit as we go. I know we're not grading any of these, but kids are going to want feedback. So if you can say like, hey, kiddo, you got 45 out of 60, you're really close to 60 out of 60, and that's like what advanced high school kids are doing. Like I said, I only have about 20 to 25 kids that can consistently get 100% on these. Anyways, that's kind of a tangent. What they're going to do after they're done, remember their raw score. That's all they have to really remember. And then they're going to view report. When they view the report, they just need to sign off that they did it. It's not that official. It's just I put my initials and I sign the report. It's going to give me this unique code. Okay, now you'll see in a minute why is this unique code important, but it is unique to this single test that they took. So if they want to take the test again, they can just not get a code and they can just start over until they get a score that they like. But anyways, they're going to click copy code. All right, that's going to tuck that away in the computer and we're going to recall it later here in a second. But they're done. They've taken the test and go back to their classroom here and click that music theory form. Remember, we built that during our second video where we made our own. We copied our own. They're just going to fill it out real simple. Mine kind of auto-fills it. Class period. In your Google form, you might want to change this question because your kids aren't going to know what third period concert wins means. So you can change that. You can make the question with 3 or 4 answers, and it can be, first period 8th grade band or first period symphonic orchestra. You can change all of those in your Google form that is your own one. Okay, so the kiddo says what class they're in, and then the code link. Remember, that was when we clicked copy code. The kiddo should just hit Control V, and that was in the instructions. They can go back and review those instructions in their Google Classroom. Paste is Control V, the link from that code. There's that code. All right. Here is that one thing they had to remember. They had to remember their raw score. My raw score was 5. I do have a master's degree in music. So there's a no. I'm not practicing this. It doesn't matter. Your kids can just be truthful and honest. It just lets you know that, like, hey, I'm doing bad because I don't practice this. Or I'm doing bad and I practice a lot. Okay, that's a spot where we probably want to provide some intervention there. Okay? Now the kid is actually done. There is nothing left for them to do. They filled out the form. They took the test. Everything's good to go. All right? Now, for you can look at information in 2 ways. You can go back to your copy. I didn't take Mr. Flemmer's theory feedback. So I'm going to go to my theory feedback. So this part is probably not a part that you have to copy in your own work. This is just me going to my work. Okay, copies. Here's the Captain Flemmer's one that we made. Here's the form that I use because I wanted to use my own form. And this is, again, this is the form that the teacher sees. And here's the response, the one response from this kid, Eric Parker, superstar. This is just a space where you can kind of see, you know, like 100% of your concert wind kids will have participated, or, you know, 20% of your wind ensemble kids, or whatever, okay? This isn't really that useful. What's going to be useful is this piece that you used over here. Remember, you made a little green Google sheet, and now you have data in it. You can see that Eric Parker, and you can see that student's email is right here in case you need to contact them and say that something's weird. But you can see their raw score. They got a 5 out of 5, and you know that that score is a 5 out of 5. If you don't believe this kid did a 5 out of 5, okay, that is where this copy code thing that we did comes into play. I just suggest you go over the cell so you can see my cell where the verification code is. I can blow that up too if it's easier for you to see the verification code link. I'm just going to hit Control C. Now you can do that. You can right click and hit copy, or you can go up here to the cell where it's all written out and you can copy. It doesn't really matter how you do it, but I just use Control C because I love hotkeys and being fast. Okay, now here's the beautiful part. If you just went to musictheory.net, okay, here's the musictheory.net homepage. It's not software, it's just online cloud-based. If you click here on exercises and you scroll all the way down to these exercise builders to the code checker, you can take that kid's code, you can paste it, or Control V, and then when you verify it, remember that kid said he got a 5 out of 5? Well, I'll be damned, he actually did get a 5 out of 5. All right, so if there's ever any question about a kid's actual self-reporting their grade, this is a way that you can kind of catch them on that. It's not 1,000% foolproof, but I haven't had any problems. I've been doing this for about 2.5, 3 years almost now. So anyways, I think it's pretty useful as a way to just verify their work. And I don't check every kid's work. Oh my gosh, no. I really just kind of look for those kids that, kind of push the boundaries and sometimes try to be a little sneaky, or the kid who's, sitting last chair for 4 years and then all of a sudden he's getting a 60 out of 60 on his note reading. Like, there's something awry about that. So, or we're just terrible evaluators and last chair when they should be first, but that never happens. So anyways, those are kind of the steps. You now have feedback for this, and you can go to the students. What I typically do is I'll click here and highlight the whole deal. I'll go to data and I'll sort the range. And I know that seems kind of like a weird thing, but we have a header here. So everything I click data has a header row because it says student name. It has labels, and then I just pick that I want to organize everything by class period. It just is easiest for me, and then I want to sort by last name. And sometimes I'll sort by their raw score just so I can see who the most successful kids are. How many notes did you get right? And then you're not going to see that here because I only have one data point, but it'll sort everything in that order of things. Again, to do that, I just click in this upper corner to highlight everything. I go to data, sort range, data has a header row, and then I just classify. My first sorting row, or column I should say, should be the class period. And then I want another column by last name. Or no, maybe I want to do it by score. Yeah, sorry, you do that by score. And then there you go. And if you want to do it by last name, you can just do it by last name or first name. And the computer will automatically sort them by timestamp, so they'll be done in order. But that's basically, that's quote it. I know that's a lot, but I do think this is a really good way to reach out to kids. You can mess around on musictheory.net. You can build a tool for all of these. Every single one of these is a tool, and you can create parameters for how you want to do it. So maybe in the choir and theater world, the most important thing is that students can identify notes on a keyboard, right? Like if you're going to sing a song, can you even start it by finding middle C on the keyboard? You can build things like that on here where there's actually a keyboard on the screen, and then the computer will say, play a C on the computer, and you have to click on the C key, or it'll do it vice versa. It'll play the C key, and then the student has to identify if that's a C, D, E, F, G, A. So anyways, a lot of stuff to mess around with. I really encourage you to just take these tests here as an individual and see what you think is appropriate for your kids. And if it's too long or too timed out, I still think it's worth sharing and just telling kids that like they're taking something advanced and this is something to challenge themselves. You can also build your own. I just spent some time building these for my kids, and I thought I could share them. And I by no means tried to make this super difficult. These note identifications 1, 2, and 3 are super achievable. The kids do on the third ones. They do need to learn how to read 2 ledger lines out of the staff, both up and down. Tuba clef is a little bit different, but that's very unique. I mean, everybody would be the same for tuba. And then all of these identifying interval ones, they're really pretty generic for everybody. I don't think that you would have to worry about differentiation for transposing instruments. And then down here, there's some ear training. You don't even have to worry about clefs. The clef piece is not even really part of the experience. But I think the kids, all this does is ask them to melodically identify a minor second or a major second. So you can teach kids about clue tunes and identifying those distances. And then there's a minor third, major third, and you can do it melodically where it's ding, ding, and you can also do it harmonically where they're stacked. The chords are stacked and they hear them simultaneously. So anyways, that's a million miles an hour, but hopefully because it's a YouTube video, you can go back and watch it again and get clarification. But I really appreciate all of the work that's going into relearning our entire profession in basically a week. So good luck to you guys. I hope we get to all see each other, but I just wish you guys luck in this adventure.